recently started watching the show Yellow Jackets. I watched the first season and absolutely loved it until I ran into some problems. You see, I watched the first season with the understanding that I would be able to continue the show on a different platform which had the second season and would eventually start having the third season. And I was thinking this wouldn't be a problem because I'm like, well, I think I have that streaming platform, so it should work out just fine and I'll just transfer over once I'm finished with the first season. Or so I thought. Because it turns out you cannot watch Yellow Jackets unless you have Showtime, which I do not. I was devastated. I had found the show of my dreams. In middle school, Lord of the Flies was one of my favorite novels, and this captured everything I ever wanted in my life. Femme, Lord of the Flies, and all of a sudden it was just gone? I had so many questions left unanswered. What would the police do? Were they gonna consume so-and-so? What's gonna happen next? And that's when I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. I decided to look at my library's database, and sure enough, they had Yellow Jackets Season 2 on DVD. So I requested it, waited a few days for it to be ready because somebody else was enjoying the season, and finally it was ready and I could go pick it up. Like the characters on the show, I consumed season 2 very quickly and it was delectable. But in watching season 2 of Yellow Jackets, I realized not only how unpredictable the writing can get, but that the library has a database full of DVDs for movies I've never seen. And we're talking DVDs for stuff that came out within the last year. And even if you have a Blu-ray player, they have options for you as well, which is pretty awesome. That's when the hamsters in my brain began running. You see, there are a lot of films that came out within the last year that I haven't been able to see either due to time or just limited releases in theaters. And now, unfortunately, those films are either on streaming services I don't have or they're not streaming at all and they're only available for rent or purchase, which is something I haven't really been fond of in the past when it comes to wanting to watch things. So without further ado, here are the 6 movies I checked out from the library and my reviews of them. Spoilers ahead. Midsommar. Anyways, 5 out of 5? Friends of mine had seen the film in theaters, and at the time, I really wanted to see it, but based on the reception, I was too intimidated, and my schedule didn't allow me time to see it anyway, but my friends would tell me about it, and they also chose to go see the film without me, and I didn't have anyone to really watch it with, so those are some real friends. Anyways, I kept hearing stuff about a man and a bear, which I thought was going to be visually way worse than it was. That wasn't even the worst part of the film. I don't know why people were so gravitated to that part. In some ways, it looked kind of funny. Maybe that's what it was, you know? Imagining an adult man dressed like a bear. I mean, that's not what it was, but that's like the nicest way I could describe what happened without getting super graphic, but visually it wasn't as graphic as I was anticipating, so that was a pleasant of a surprise as that can be, because my imagination tends to be way worse than whatever they could do with a camera, and sometimes it's not, so you never know. Anyways, I always wondered what these characters could have possibly done that would have motivated so much violence before seeing this movie, because I'm like, these situations seem too much for characters who just came to a place. Why? I get it now. I understand. 4 years? I was under the impression they were dating for 3 months.
He's making me so mad. Oh my God.
But 4 years? Wow! Birthday, dude! It was her birthday. He was planning to go to another country during her birthday and didn't tell her anything about it until his friends brought it up at a party. What a terrible relationship. At every turn, Christian made the wrong decisions, like the worst decisions. He is such an insecure, whiny, self-centered asshole who constantly hurts other people and doesn't actually give a shit because he knows what he's doing is wrong. And then he goes and does it anyway. His moral compass is driven by how others will perceive him, not how it will make that person feel. He doesn't break up with Danny because she's in a really vulnerable place, but really, it's because he doesn't want to be perceived as the asshole who dumped the orphan. He even goes as far as to cheat on her because he doesn't want to go through with having an honest conversation. Trying to support a partner while they're grieving can be incredibly difficult to navigate, but ultimately, it comes down to just be there for them. And based on my observations, he was very much not. It was all performative. And again, 4 years. No, absolutely not. After 4 years, their family, your partner's family, starts to feel like your family. So what do you even mean? Especially for her, who was so close with her family. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And then hijacking your friend's thesis? Research he'd been doing for years. What do you mean? Are you kidding me? Are you... Midsommar is a very effective horror film. I genuinely felt terrified, but for most of the film, I felt so calm and serene, even while watching horrible things happen, which only added to my personal terror. The music is incredibly effective in creating this mood of joint calm and chaos. The cinematography and effects are so creative. I love the way the landscape and flowers look like they're breathing as an effect of the drugs. And then at the very end of the film, the landscape becomes very still and haunting. I love it when creative teams love film and know how to manipulate the medium in such a way that really utilizes editing effects that live programs can't accomplish in the same way. Simon, Josh, and Connie especially broke my heart. Spare them. Banish them. Don't do that. I wish I'd written down pronunciations. Maya was manipulated by her elders. Pele? Really should have written these things down. You suck, man. He found his targets, guys who were unlikely to question much and enjoyed taking drugs already, and I feel really bad for them in that regard. Anyways, I understand now. My questions have been answered. I cannot rest easy, but I have been enlightened, and that's... House of Gucci, 2 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5. Lady Gaga was fantastic. I don't care about accent inconsistencies. It's such a small detail to me, and it wasn't really distracting. Gaga melted away and became this fictionalized Patrizia. She stole the camera in every scene she was in. Adam Driver also gave a fantastic performance. My main issue with this film is that even after watching it, I'm still wondering what the intentions behind it were. Was it to capture this tragedy? Because tonally, it felt too all over the place to fully acknowledge just how tragic this assassination was. The film spent so much time with them as a couple, watching the cracks form, and then at the end, it was like, and then he's killed. I appreciate that they spent time with the relationship. You spend time understanding how messy and heartbreaking that divorce must have been. But for the people who had to live through this and then had to watch a dramatization, it feels exploitative of their story. They then spent so much time with the importance of legacy and how selling the shares of the company was a big deal, but it all felt like it amounted to nothing. I would like to see a film about a family empire falling apart on the inside because of betrayals, because of selling shares. There's a curtain to be pulled back, but using a real family to do it, especially in this manner, doesn't quite sit right with me. I just don't think I'm the target audience. I love you, Gaga. The Invisible Man, 5 out of 5. This is such an incredible film from start to finish, and the less I tell you about it, the better. I know I said there would be spoilers in this video, but please go away and instead go watch this film if you haven't seen it yet. If you're looking for a plot/premise to go off of, here's what you need to know. A woman escapes her abusive relationship, but following the death of her ex, she feels haunted by his memory and she fears that she will never be able to escape him. And there you go. I promise it's a good film. Go watch it. Go away. guys, this film has such great pacing and tension. The very beginning of the film is so tense in all of the right ways. I think this is my favorite film ever. I love this movie. I love the details. I love the effects. I love the creativity. I love the feeling of justice it gave me, because I was so scared for how it would end, and at every twist and turn I didn't really know what was going to happen next. There were some things where I was like, well, yeah, I know that this is the way that things are, but whoa, The Invisible Man cannot be tied down to one genre. It had horror, action, thriller, suspense, comedy, everything. The title sounds like it could just as easily be a superhero film, and it kind of incorporated the elements of one, which I really love. I also appreciate that they wasted no time with the invisibility thing. They were like, you read the title, you know what we're dealing with here, so here we go. They just did it. And the costuming was so cool, especially the invisibility suit also proves that with enough money and intelligence, the world is limitless, and in the wrong hands, incredibly dangerous, because that man is scary. I was convinced the ending would take the unsatisfactory approach, but instead it took the I'll save myself approach, and she is so clever and I love her. What a heartbreaking and yet perfect way to talk about abuse in a film. Not only what a relationship looks like while you are stuck, but also what it feels like once you're out of that relationship. Are you truly out of it? And in this case, she wasn't, and she was so trapped, and my heart was just constantly breaking for her. And as I said, this is one of the best films I've ever seen. Next up, we have Mary Shelley, 3.5 out of 5. Frankenstein is one of my favorite novels of all time, and I think Mary Shelley was a brilliant writer. And this biopic follows Mary Shelley's life leading up to the moment she began writing and publishing Frankenstein. Not perfectly accurate, but I think it does a good job at expressing the emotional points of Shelley's life. Elle Fanning is brilliant. I'll watch her in just about anything. And they did a really great job of connecting events in this fictional story as they led to Mary writing Frankenstein. Watching that progression as a writer was pretty cool. One of the details I didn't appreciate was anytime Mary Shelley is seen writing in the film, it wasn't something she actually wrote in real life, but something Percy Shelley actually wrote. So that struck me as an odd choice, because Mary Shelley was a writer who wrote things, so I don't know why they chose not to use her work, but instead use her husband's work, as she was writing her husband's work, but in the film they make it seem like it was her work, but it was Percy. So that was interesting. Yeah.
Poor Things.
5 out of 5. Such a good movie. I love the black and white. I love the camera work. I love the dialogue. Emma Stone is brilliant. So she's mwah. I love the film's commentary on women in film and women in general as images and objects of men. It made me think a lot about art and the ways in which we create art in a certain image with the expectation that that art will not shift but remain in its current state forever, which then made me think of Dorian Gray. This movie is not at all like Dorian Gray, but if you like Dorian Gray, I think you'll like this film. Similarly, if you like this film, maybe read Dorian Gray, though I will warn you there's a lot of anti-Semitic lines in that book. Also, this film has some similarities to Frankenstein, but handles entirely different themes. Very fun, very sad, and I loved it a lot. Maxxxine, 5 out of 5. Maxxxine is the third film in the X trilogy. It started with X, and then there was the prequel Pearl, and now it ends with Maxxxine, the final girl. I love this movie. The 1980s imagery in this film is so fun and well utilized. Just like the other two films in the trilogy, it's very stylized, and I love how it finishes out the trilogy and Maxxine's journey. Even though I would love to see her continuing in more films, this felt very satisfying to watch as an audience member who really likes the trilogy. I appreciate how Maxxine's experiences have shaped her to expect the worst in people, and rather than having that paranoia turn into something that makes her a shell, it makes her into someone who becomes violent herself in order to feel control. Maxxine doesn't shy away from life, which isn't necessarily better or worse than how other final girls are written. It's just how she responds, and I find it really interesting that she in turn takes on violent responses. I just thought her writing was interesting. The way she continues to put herself out there and just exude so much confidence that, I don't know, it's very different from other protagonists I see, especially in horror films. I think Maxxine's just in a lane of her own. I like the characters in this film more than I've liked some of the other characters in the X trilogy. The people in Maxxine's life are just really easy to like, which only made everything that happens that much sadder. I enjoyed it. That is a wrap on this video. I am incredibly grateful to my library for having these titles available to me. I had so much fun just browsing the shelves and grabbing films as they caught my attention. That's what's so great about checking out films from the library, is that no matter how many films you pick up, they're not going to charge you unless it's overdue. Keep track of your dates, people. Otherwise, it's free, and how awesome is that? I wouldn't have been able to watch most of these films if it hadn't been for my library. So if you're looking for anything to watch this weekend, maybe check out your local library first, especially as this is the end of National Library Week on Saturday. So go to your library all day and every day. Sometimes they even have special screenings for families and adults during the summer, so in May, keep a lookout for community events. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a safe and wonderful week, and be sure to thank your librarians. Bye-bye.